We need a suite
That's
at
crazy.
Staples Center where you can, you walk in, you got a full table lay of Kush, of pre-rolls, of bongs, of lighters, all Laker branded.
Oh my God.
Hi,
girlies.
Hello, Jenny.
Hi, Bria.
Oh, hello. Who are you?
What are you doing here?
I'm the token male of today's episode.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Who the hell are you?
Do you even live here?
I am the PA of this production.
Yeah, that's
Low-key.
true. Will.
He's usually
Will,
the PA,
yeah.
but today he's our sports correspondent. We had to bring in an expert.
Yay, sports.
Big things are happening in the world of sports, so I felt like it could be fun to talk about with you all.
Yeah.
What makes you qualified to be our sports person?
If there is a sport on, it is being watched in this household. It is basketball, baseball, soccer, football, I guess. But with the CTE.
Formula One.
Formula One, love it. Some tennis here or there. And
Fucking
golf.
always.
What about
Golf is a
pickleball?
no.
I will not support a live broadcast of pickleball. While I do enjoy the play of it, I do not support a live broadcast tournament.
That is a hot
Why?
take.
4K.
There are a lot of sports that don't get broadcasted, and I don't think that that's one of them that should. Cricket doesn't get broadcasted in America, and that's one of the largest sports in the world.
I don't give a shit about
I don't
cricket,
give a
though.
shit about that either.
I don't think people really play cricket here.
Did you realize that there was just the World Championships of cricket, and one of the guys on Team USA who beat like India or something like that, it was a huge upset. He's actually like the CFO of like Google.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, Google employees do have a lot of time on their hands.
Do they?
Yeah, they like nap at the office and they,
That doesn't mean they have time.
work
on
from
their hands.
home. I feel like they have more time than others. Regardless, this is going to be an amazing audition, and we're really testing Will's knowledge today because we're going to be talking about weed and sports.
The best combination there is.
And how can you talk about weed and sports without weed?
Us.
Today, we smoked the Phases Cannabis Sativa Flower in Vibration. It is very
I like the
sativa-y.
packaging.
It's High Girly friendly by
Very
the packaging.
pretty. Very pretty.
This was actually Will's pick at the dispensary.
Wow. Which dispensary? Shout out the dispensary.
Green Queen in downtown LA on Broadway.
If I'm not mistaken, it's gay woman owned.
Yes, BIPOC and LGBT owned. Women owned.
Gay black woman
The
owned.
way
Yeah.
that you said that, I was like,
What?
gay woman owned. It just sounded weird. It meant BIPOC LGBTQ owned. Or a
BIPOC
or a
LGBTQ
lesbian black woman owns it?
woman owned. I don't know if she's a lesbian.
Or
We also don't know
bi?
if she's a woman. Maybe she's non-binary.
queer
It could
black
be-
woman.
Because they do have like a trans section in there as well.
Yeah, queer BIPOC person.
Sure. There you go.
Regardless, it's very exciting. Broadway and 11th if you ever want to go. But
Wait, a trans section for weed?
they have like an LGBT owned brand section, and then they have like a trans support merch kind of section almost.
Like, what does it say?
Or like LGBT owned.
Just like hats
stuff.
and shirts and stuff. Just stuff that they're trying to
Like weedy?
merch-wise.
Weedy
Sometimes,
trans?
yeah.
Sometimes it's weedy. Sometimes it's just like a brand that they support, that they are
Oh.
putting merch out for.
Oh, cool.
I think they have a black owned section too. Or BIPOC owned. I don't know. Great place to check out though. And I'm very excited to get into the sports of it all because we are sports girlies.
Yay, sports.
We
Did
love
y'all watch
sports.
the Olympic trials, track and field?
I did not watch it live. I followed what was happening on social media, sort of.
But it's really exciting. It's really exciting to follow along a little bit, seeing who's racing the 100 meter, the 400 meter.
It's a lot.
A lot of
track
drama.
and field trials, it's a lot to follow. Like, I'm
Yeah.
ready for the Olympics. I don't know if I need the trials. Just give me the cliff notes, and then I can be a woo girl for 2 weeks during the Olympics.
Yeah, just tell me who to like, basically. I watched
Well-
Simone Biles, her qualifying thing.
Simone Biles is, one of the best to ever do it. If you're looking at gymnastics, I mean, USA Gymnastics always does really well, I think.
She is the better half, though.
Truly, in every way.
Do you know about that?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
our
Teach
worlds
me.
are colliding.
Wow.
He was like
Online.
trying to minimize her accomplishments as an athlete and say that he was more athletically talented than her.
I remember that now. And he was like, he had this whole thing, and people were like, you're not even like number one on the depth chart. Like,
Not at
You're-
all. You're a mediocre football
you're
player.
playing NFL. She's in the Olympics.
Treat your
Right.
queen like she is your queen. That's what
Right.
But she
We
supported
stand.
him. She stood by him.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people came out with shirts saying like, something about he is Simone Biles' husband, not the other way around.
Truly, don't even know the man's name.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's exactly why his statement is Fapui.
It is
Fapui.
Fapui.
Tui.
He's trying to like be Haktua part 2, and it's not
No,
gonna
he
work
is
on
OG.
This is
here.
well before
He's
Haktua,
OG
by the
Haktua. Except the men weren't buying it like they are now.
Yeah.
So what's going on with like sports and weed and all that right now?
Well, the big news, I think, is that the NBA has officially announced that weed is no longer one of the banned substances that are like, performance enhancing substances for its
Wow.
players, which is, I think, is a big deal.
That's major.
We're playing basketball. He loved that basketball.
Now, while that rule has finally been implemented into their collective bargaining agreement, it is
Wow.
important to know that since the 2020 restart of the season in the bubble in Orlando, they have stopped testing for weed with its players.
Oh,
They stopped in the bubble.
They stopped before the bubble started.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
That's good
People
timing.
were going through it. They needed something.
They
Absolutely.
needed it. They were like, fuck you if you want me to play.
The bubble was such a weird thing. Like, who was that guy who was selling Nespresso pods or whatever the fuck?
No, I mean, he actually had like an espresso machine, but Jimmy Butler has like a coffee company, whatever he calls like Big Head Coffee. And basically, because every athlete there was given like basically a per diem of like money to spend daily, whatever, I don't know, he would basically charge people $100 for a coffee, for an espresso, for an Americano out of his hotel room. And they were buying it because it was like they couldn't break, they kept getting like hundreds and they couldn't break them. So rather than like, charging $10 for a coffee and giving people $90 in change, he's just like, give me 100.
That's
So
like a
Big Head
prison
Coffee?
fucking commissary. Like the ramen noodles are $12.
That's
The
insane.
And apparently
Inflation.
Big Head is slang for a $100 bill.
Oh, makes sense.
Interesting.
I see that.
So the bubble was wild. They were completely shut off from their families. They couldn't bring anyone. No fans at the games. They needed a little.
Absolutely.
Do you think it's interesting, like looking back, how that was the only sport that did that?
No,
No.
because I think hockey did it in the same facility in Orlando over there.
Oh, they did.
Oh.
I don't follow.
I think either hockey
like that.
did, baseball.
Baseball did not because
Baseball continued playing, but in empty stadiums, which is really weird.
Yeah,
That is weird.
but they were traveling and shit.
They were traveling, but baseball, they have private planes, I think.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Really?
So they're not getting on charter flights.
I
or
just
nothing.
remember people being like, "Oh yeah, baseball would not have that." Like, it's very like progressive, I guess, or liberal, or like
Baseball?
no, basketball,
Basketball,
doing
Oh,
the
yeah.
bubble versus baseball traveling. Like, I feel like a lot of people judge the MLB for not having people wear masks even when they're playing and stuff.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
MLB and the NFL are very Republican sports.
That's what I'm saying.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And basketball is way more catered to the like liberal demographic, I feel like. I mean, look at even during the bubble and Black Lives Matter was happening, they didn't even play when
That's
George Floyd was
true.
killed.
Yeah.
They refused to play, and the NBA supported them. That shit would literally never happen in the NFL.
Well,
No.
Never.
someone who does, gets kicked out of the
Yeah.
league. Call it
Yeah.
That's so true.
Is he a stoner, you think?
Is he what?
A stoner?
He doesn't give
He's
me
got to
stoner
be. He's
vibes.
got to
No way.
Colin
Got to
Kaepernick
be.
doesn't give you stoner vibes?
He gives me a bit goody two shoes. He's kind of overachiever, goody two shoes.
He's definitely kind of non-problematic. Like he's not like out
Yeah.
there trying to like getting like women pregnant and like
That's
Yikes.
true. Yeah, that happens a lot
But
in the NBA.
Yeah, and LeBron James tweeted a photo like saying something about Colin Kaepernick on a certain day, but he accidentally tweeted a picture of Lil Dicky.
Oh wow,
Oh
on
my
accident?
God.
Yeah.
Or shady accident.
No, on accident. And then Colin Kaepernick like responds to the tweet saying, "Thanks, bro, but I think that's Lil Dicky."
Oh my God. Okay, so circling back for a second, how do you feel like we're establishing that like the NBA is a more liberal sport, and now they're not.
But yet they are the last major sport to make this change in their collective bargaining agreement, according to all the other
Oh.
professional sports. So they're kind of behind the eight ball on this one. While they did stop, testing in 2020, waiting till 2024 to actually make this rule official. But you have to wait till the collective bargaining agreement is up to renegotiate some rules like that, which is what they had to do. So this rule right now is in effect until 2029, I believe,
Oh,
because that's when the next collective bargaining agreement, CBA.
What is that?
It's basically where players represented by the Players Association and the league and its owners basically come together and decide on rules, revenue sharing, team budget caps, all these rules that affect the players in the game so that they could have the best product out there.
is the Players Association like under the NBA umbrella, or is it separate?
It's separate. It's like a union with the company that the union
okay.
is for. It is a union. It's the
Oh,
players
very
union.
good.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, so
So-
they're on top of it now.
But they're the last ones to do that. So like other players in the NFL and MLB could smoke weed.
So here's kind of the breakdown on weed in sports right now. Like no league allows you to wants you to or allows you to smoke weed while performing official responsibilities of your team as a professional athlete. So whether you're doing a community event with the kids, whether you are at practice or a game, you're not supposed to be inebriated anyway. Weed, alcohol, anything.
Yeah.
So those are the
Pills.
rules that they are still implementing. But you're allowed to like smoke weed outside of that, except for the NFL. So all other sports, they don't care if you smoke weed as long as it's not a dangerously high level. Just like alcohol, where they would just ask you to get into a program and just, address this. But the NFL doesn't allow you to smoke during the season at all. So they'll still like kind of test that way. But during the off season, they're allowed to do that because they recognize the healing benefits with a lot of,
Oh wow.
athletes trying to recover after a long season.
You would think that they would let them smoke during the season to recover,
Yeah.
but oh well. Okay, so we've come a long
Well,
way.
both. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like the weed stuff in sports used to be so fucking serious. Like
So serious.
we came from, I think the first person that I ever heard of having the weed scandal was Michael Phelps.
He was the biggest one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was groundbreaking, I think, for kids, for I think the weed activists in the world at the time. Like,
Yeah.
Why do you think that was so groundbreaking?
First, we have to take ourselves to the point where he had just come off of winning the Olympics 8 times, 8 golds at the Olympics in 2008 in Beijing. He is the most winningest, athlete of all time. He had just gotten the most golds in a single Olympics ever, like unprecedented.
Yeah.
And so
Bad
having
bitch.
this man who is the pinnacle of, positive influence on the youth for Americans to then be caught with a bong, USA Swimming was like,
No.
we are not about to, make that look like that's who we are. That's not a representation of America. So we're going to go ahead and ban you for 3 months from competition without pay. And
Damn.
then his biggest,
Holy
one of his
shit.
biggest sponsors, Kellogg, a Michigan company, was like, nope, does not align with our ethos. like, we're dropping you immediately. We're not renewing the contract. You're out.
He should have done the Miley Cyrus thing and just said it was salvia. Because at least that was more legal at the
Not
time.
believable.
I mean, he never agreed to smoking weed. He just apologized for, putting himself in that situation. He never
Yeah.
Okay,
admitted
so he
to
never
smoking
said he
the
smoked
weed.
weed.
He's in a picture with a bong, not smoking it.
Right.
I
That's
thought
what's
he
even
had like
crazier.
the mouth on it.
Oh, he is hitting it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he could say that it was salvia.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's hitting that thing. He's hitting that thing
I
hard.
don't see no smoke in the tube.
It is weird.
It's an empty bowl.
Yeah.
It's all for show. He's actually a salesperson for bongs, so he's just trying to show them, like, how it fits.
That would be crazy if there was like a logo on the bong. Wow. But he got a major punishment. Like, that's so
The
serious.
craziest thing is he wasn't even in season when it happened.
Exactly. So that's the big thing with the anti-doping agency, the WADA, WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, is that USA Swimming even admitted he didn't technically break any rules, but they were just wanting to send a message that we're not going to tolerate this to kind of anybody. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it
They
was a big
used him
thing.
as an example.
Yeah, and so he got a 3-month suspension, but he was able to compete at the World Championships that August. I
Yeah.
think it was like from March to June or something like that was his punishment.
Okay.
So-
But I feel like that kind of affected his trajectory. Like, was he ever on top again? No one ever really talks about him anymore.
Well,
no.
he had the longest stretch of all times for collecting the most gold. I think Simone Biles kind of got in there, but I don't know where the hierarchy is on who has the most gold medals. But
Like 2010 and onward.
I don't know if he continued, to be honest. But he left when he left on top. He didn't come.
Okay,
and
that's good.
Try again and then fail. I think he left on top. He's now doing broadcasting roles. He's now announcing and he's
Good for
No,
him.
he didn't leave right after. He competed in 2012, I'm pretty sure, too. Because I
like,
remember he
notably?
didn't win as much. And then after that, he didn't do it again, I don't think.
2012 was probably when like Ryan Lochte
Yes,
came
that
in
was
and
when-
was challenging
Oh,
Phelps for
wow.
like that. But
Yeah.
Lochte was young, in her young 20s, and then
Yeah.
Michael Phelps is an old guy, like still
Yeah.
trying to like do that.
In
but
his
he didn't
30s
leave
or
like
something.
he didn't leave down in the dumps. He didn't
Yeah.
squander his abilities in the Olympics. He did okay.
And he
Yeah.
really didn't ruin his reputation. Like, now he still has a career. People still respect him. Like,
He's good.
It's
It's fine.
crazy how fast they swim.
I know.
Insane.
So after Michael Phelps, I feel like the next big weed scandal was Sha'Carri Richardson.
Definitely the most like groundbreaking, newsworthy. I mean, it was a much bigger deal than even Michael Phelps in the grand scheme of things. She got disqualified from being able to compete in the Olympics in 2021.
That's major
Full
for
on.
smoking weed.
And like the crazy thing is like anyone in her situation, you sympathize. She had such a huge delegation that was out in the streets trying to like get the Olympics and the organizations to overturn their
I remember
decision.
that was like a social media campaign.
And
Like,
they were
Dude.
marching in the streets. They had
Yeah.
banners.
yeah.
Because also that was during the year of like Black Lives Matter too. So I think it amplified it. Also, I don't know if you have thoughts on this, but I feel like she got caught with it during the trials, so it's a little bit different than Michael Phelps.
Right.
But I also feel like because she is a Black woman who has, braids and like
Long
braids
nails.
with color, long
Extra long
nails, and
nails.
has tattoos. I feel like
And
she got
jewelry.
way
Jewelry.
more stigmatized.
Oh, absolutely. She was, and I don't necessarily think that this is from the doping agency. I think this is just trying to like fight the public opinion. Like you're dealing with people who think that, she knew the rules. Why would you care? When in reality, do they know that the reason why she was smoking weed was because her mother died a week before that race, before the Olympic qualifiers?
I
And
also
she was
feel
trying
like
to deal with those emotions while competing at the highest level.
yeah, but also like she could have just smoked and because she was anxious. Like
Exactly. I think either way, it should have been okay.
yeah, because she probably does smoke weed anyway. I don't think she just. I don't know, the whole her mother dying is really awful, but it almost is like the other side making an excuse for her like smoking. Oh, it was one time. It was because her mom died, and it was
like stop feeding into the stigma.
yeah,
It's-
you're
it's-
feeding
but
the stigma.
The problem, I don't believe I am, only because
Not
that
you, but like them.
any professional athlete knows that there are certain times in which you don't do it. Like even in college, like big D1 athlete, big D1s, like, you know, they're down for like drinking and partying, but they're serious during the season of their sport, and so they'll kind of like cut it all out, and then in the off season they'll go ham or do whatever. They're college kids. Like when you're an Olympic athlete, you do what you need to do, but you know when you're in the public eye on the world's biggest stage in a sport that isn't covered year round usually, that you need to behave yourself on those types of fronts. Now, if you want to talk about why weed at all is even still banned in international competition, I agree that you know, rule needs to change. And even Biden was advocating for that rule to change after Sha'Carri Richardson got disqualified.
Yeah, because that's ridiculous. It's like an overreaction completely.
But
and
is
it
in the
was
rules,
also
but-
in the height of the pandemic.
Yeah, that too.
Well, it was 2021.
Oh
That was
yeah,
still-
they moved the
They
Olympics
moved the
back
Olympics
a
a
year.
year.
I forgot.
I feel like it was
but
still
still
in there.
pandy, a little
Yeah.
pandy.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Definitely Patricia.
Yes, for sure.
But they can't. I mean, I read that they were just like, if we have rules on the books and we just decide that we're going to change them on a whim, like how can you enforce any other kind of rules? So
I
they're
know
just
they
like,
can't change it for her
right
immediately.
But they still didn't change it for this one. That was back in 2021, and here we are at 2024, and they still didn't change the rules. So
I saw in the news that someone from the, I want to say, Chinese gymnastics team got banned from the Olympics this year for smoking cigarettes. Did you see that?
Oh,
I
I
did
feel like I
see
saw that
that.
too.
Like they will ban you over fucking nothing.
but I think that was China, not the Olympic.
Yeah, they
committee,
may have
Okay,
they
okay.
may have
WADA.
moved her out because she wasn't performing at her peak health. Whatever.
That makes sense. Or she was, well, I don't know, because I feel like it's very normal to smoke cigarettes in China. But maybe they didn't want
Yeah,
it
but
out
maybe
there.
not if you're competing for China in the Olympics, which
Yeah.
they take
And
extremely
it's
seriously.
so serious over there that they are raising babies to be Olympic athletes in China. Like they are literally taking babies at young ages with their sole purpose of being high performance
Oh
athletes.
my God.
Yao Ming was created to be an international basketball player.
How'd they know he was going to be so tall?
They who his parents are.
Like the government?
What they made?
Shut the fuck up.
They made his parents have a kid to make.
They breeded him.
I don't know if they like made the parents. I think as a country they were like, listen, we have an opportunity here to make one of the world's greatest athletes.
What?
They probably found like one really tall Chinese person two tall Chinese people who were in a couple together, and they were like, your kid.
Huh.
And then we're gonna give him all the resources in the world, make him to be a phenomenal athlete, and we'll get him somewhere.
Yeah.
Period.
Wow.
Well, regardless, I feel like there should be a lot more freedom there. And I'm glad that Sha'Carri finally gets to compete this year.
And she's showing out. She's doing a great job. She's
amazing.
First off, she's getting so much love with like her dress, her nails, her just like charisma. And it kind of goes along with Noah Lyles, who's a male sprinter. And he too is just like kind of like goofy and outlandish. He's got a lot more energy, not this just like reserved, cool like runner guy. And like he's pulling out Yu-Gi-Oh cards before his races, being
Oh my
like, "This is
God.
mine." He did a whole thing for the Olympic trials. But
This
like,
is Gen Z.
you're creating these. I don't know. They're what, 20?
Yeah,
20?
Gen Z.
Low 20?
Elder Gen Z.
I'm
Or
like
maybe Gen Z.
elder
Z's.
Gen Z is like 26, I would say.
Okay.
Or
So yeah, they're probably
27.
Gen Z. So I mean, these.
They're doing it.
You want to see people who are having fun doing their sport. You know, kind of like that age of like baseball where it's like you're supposed to act like you've been there before, and like anybody who showboats is like a poor sportsman. It's like, nah, man, you're playing professional sports. You're playing the kids'
Yeah.
game. You're have fun with it.
It's okay to be a nerd.
It's okay to be a nerd.
Be a little nerd.
I like that. But it's
I love
interesting
it.
too that like both major scandals with weed have come from Olympians.
Yeah.
What do you think that says?
I mean, the international governing bodies, the WADA,
The Wada peeps.
the international governing bodies like WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, like they're just so slow at adjusting to the times, but they're also managing, rules and everything all over the world, not just America here. So,
Right.
but I definitely think something should have changed after 2021. But, she could have held a grudge and she could have not competed. She could have said screw you guys, but she stayed.
I feel like it's the ultimate win to come back and be like, I
Fuck
made
you.
it this time, period.
Right.
This is what you missed
So-
last time. Exactly.
With my gold medal and my American flag around my waist and
Iconic.
smoking
Absolutely
a joint
iconic.
on the track field. I don't know.
Oh my God, they'd be gagged.
While they're balancing their efforts to control and stabilize competition across the world with all these different countries, one thing that they write about in their statement regarding all this is that it all kind of originated with this for the spirit of the sport.
What does that mean?
They don't want they don't want to have poor role models kind of being the face of these sports or whatever. So they want to try and maintain a image for these people that are competing, on the international scale. But at this day and age, I think we're starting to learn that you can separate that from weed. Weed does not make you a poor sportsman. Alcohol does not make you a poor sportsman. Now more and more of these leagues are comparing weed to alcohol as it should be.
It definitely should be.
I feel like athletes are in weed commercials.
Are
Or
they?
in alcohol commercials.
Oh.
But then I'm like, is it athletes or is it former athletes that are in alcohol commercials? During football, they're in a Budweiser commercial.
Yes. I saw David Beckham in a commercial.
David Beckham doesn't compete. He hasn't competed for 10 years.
Right. So that's what I'm
Oh,
like.
you're
maybe
talking. You're talking about Olympics people specifically.
No. I'm just saying my point that I'm trying to get us to is I feel like former athletes need to be more vocal about their marijuana and their use of it to make it more normalized in sports.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I
that's
think is
true.
happening. I know a bunch of people are just kind of exposing each other. There's so many basketball podcasts now that are all these
Oh,
former players,
God.
current players have their own podcasts, and they're talking about Kawhi Leonard's smoking weed all the time. Kevin Durant smokes weed all the time. If you do, who cares? The job's a job. You do your job. As long as you're not doing dumb shit, who cares what you smoke? Who
Do they
cares?
talk about it positively?
They're just-
Ha ha
it's
he he?
No, they just talk. They just talk about matter of fact. Yeah, he smokes. It's cool.
Oh, okay.
It's no big deal because it's really not.
We need here's a idea. We need Snoop Dogg or Mike Tyson. Oh, no, Snoop Dogg and Mike Tyson to come together and do some sort of national commercial.
Have you or your family ever been subject to discrimination because
I
of
mean-
the marijuana?
Have you or your family ever been subject to discrimination from marijuana? I have.
So, we are here for you, and we are here to support you in your time of need.
Jenny literally brought tears to my eyes because this is not the first time that she has done a Mike Tyson impression
She
today.
does a Mike Tyson impression.
She
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And she does it very well.
I smoked with Tupac Shakur when he asked me to, but I did not. So therefore, I did not smoke with Tupac Shakur.
It's one of my biggest regrets.
It's one of my biggest regrets.
Is this an actual quote?
Yes.
Yeah. Tupac wanted to smoke weed with him, and he said, "Nah, I'm good." And now it's one of his biggest regrets.
Was it just
in life.
after a fight? He's just at the MGM Grand, just
Maybe.
sweaty and bloodied, and he's just
This just came into my mind.
This is gonna help you. It helps us all. He has a huge weed farm. Why is it so funny when I do it?
I don't know. Honestly, I think it's the way you do the R's that really kills me. The way you do the R. The R.
Watson to the core.
Exactly.
Oh. Are we just gonna talk like this for the rest of the time now, or what?
I think the tone is too deep for Mike Tyson. You got to raise the pitch
Now,
level.
kiss.
I was I guess if we have a poster child of weed in athletics, he is it.
I would argue that there is another athlete that we are forgetting about.
Who?
This is our quote of the week, is from Randy Moss. And he said, I smoke a blunt once every blue moon, but hey, the moon looks pretty blue tonight.
Hey.
He's a stoner.
Also, I feel like, what's his name that dyed his hair and he was on the Lakers and the Bulls?
Dennis Rodman. He was into some shit for sure.
Dennis Rodman. There's probably
Magic
nothing that
Johnson.
didn't enter that man's bloodstream.
Yeah.
But
There was a lot. But I'm glad that the sports world is waking the fuck up. That's what we're all about here at High Girlies.
Yeah. Do you think that we'll see it in our lifetime, like weed commercials during sports or like weed sponsorships?
I think we're getting
Ooh.
close to that point, especially once we get where we can actually have regulated banking with weed dispensaries and sales and all that. I think you kind of have to hurdle some of those like red tape in the bureau before we kind of get there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there will be. You don't want to swing too far the other way, where you're trying to like just make it so normalized that now kids are going to equate, smoking weed with like going to practice, soccer practice or something like that.
Ooh, tea.
Like they don't do alcohol for athletes. They do like you drink alcohol while you watch sports. You smoke weed while you watch sports.
Do you think that
Next
they'll let
thing we
them be
need-
smoking weed in the arenas?
That's the next thing we need. We need a suite
That's
at
crazy.
Staples Center where you can, you walk in, you got a full table lay of Kush, of pre-rolls, of bongs, of lighters,
So-
all Laker branded.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
And then
crazy.
You're sitting there and you're watching your sports and you're just, you're eating the hot dogs and
But then
nachos.
the players are going to get a contact high.
They clearly need
We
to
cannot
be,
hotbox Staples Center.
Oh my God. That would be crazy.
All right, over under how many people do you think it would take to hotbox Staples Center? Do you think it would take 1,000?
I think it
people
would
to
Would
take-
say half of the stadium.
half the stadium.
Yeah, maybe like a third.
So like 15,000 people.
But they have to be smoking it up nonstop.
Yeah.
Blunts.
10,000
I mean,
blunts
listen.
for a hot box.
At certain
Staples Center.
concerts in there, people are smoking.
That's true.
I've never gotten a contact high in there, but I'm usually probably
They need
one.
better ventilation,
Yeah.
and everything will be fine.
That's
That's a great idea.
But why? So okay, you mentioned something interesting with the kids of it all. Why would that be any different than like influencing kids if it's in the stadium? Or
Well,
you know what I mean?
I interpreted your thing as commercials being like athletes who are smoking and trying to combine sports with weed.
No.
Whereas like you're just trying to
Just
normalize
leisurely.
the action of smoking weed while like kind of just enjoying things about life, such as watching sports.
Right.
Yeah, like on the sports field, there's a Corona thing because they sponsor it. Then there's like a weed maps.
Right. Then there's a High Girlies.
Hi, girlies.
Hi, girlies, sponsor of the women's soccer league.
Angel City Football Club.
Angel
of
City
Los
Football Club.
Angeles.
Okay, I was going to do the league as a whole.
Newly owned by what? Bill Gates? No, not Bill Gates. Who's
No.
the Bob Iger? Just bought controlling stake of Angel City.
Wow.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Maybe High Girlies will be a future sponsor.
Well, Bob Iger loves the Kush.
Yeah, he does. He sure does.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming on as our weed correspondent. How do you feel like you did in this audition?
I'd give myself probably an A- with some room for improvement.
Okay. We'll discuss off air if we
Yeah.
want to, bring you back for a callback.
I guess. Is there any other thoughts that you have for the future of marijuana in sports?
I would love to get ourselves to the point where we can really recognize weed's role in like lowering anxiety and improving mental health, which is such a major thing with so many sports athletes that are just in public eye and under so much scrutiny, as well as its healing benefits for inflammation, joint pain, muscular
Yes, they got to be rubbing it on their knees.
pain. They're
I wonder
really
if they are with like CBD.
Maybe.
Exactly. So CBD plays a major role in a lot of that. And I can definitely see that soon being implemented into like sideline, remedies with the athletic trainers or something like that.
Beautiful.
I like that.
Beautiful.
Love that.
Well, this has been a beautiful episode. Everybody better go follow us at High Girlies Pod on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts too. And if you want to see some amazing sports photos, follow Ouija.
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 Waluigi.
You're more. You are. You are definitely giving Waluigi sometimes.
I understand that, and I respect
I understand that.
He always picks Waluigi.
Waluigi.
He likes to see his representation.
My God. You should be Wario and you should be Waluigi for Halloween one year.
Bitch, I am not Wario.
Short and stout.
I'm gonna win.
I'm gonna win.
But I thought you
Never.
were saying Weed G McNeil, not
Now I want to
Waluigi.
play
Ouija.
Mario Party.
I have it.
Can we play?
Maybe. I don't know if I have it in me. Although I do win literally every time. So I'm
you
interested
don't
in
have to
some.
do anything. You could rot on this couch and play it.
No, I don't. It doesn't reach the chords.
What?
Honestly, I don't know.
Why are we
Maybe
still
they do.
recording this conversation?
I don't know. All right. See you later, people.
Bye,
girlies.
Bye, girlies.
It's Will G. McNeil _sports.
Will G McNeil _sports.
There we go. I wanted to make sure we got that in.
In the postscript.